Hello, hello. Okay, it's working. Where is everybody? 8:25. Hey, Mike, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm good, good, thank you. So when you signed up, you didn't see the message with the Zoom link?
I don't know. I looked for it. I couldn't find it. So I saw your email.
No worries.
So
No
I
worries.
figured, I thought maybe I didn't sign up for maybe I forgot to sign up for it. So,
No, no worries at all.
all right. So we're going to see a video of your practice.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you. Yeah, I'm gonna show you. I mean, not a full practice, but
Yeah.
the game that I do almost every year with the kids at the beginning of the year. Well, I do it as a warm up. It's a good warm up. It's a simple drill, but
Those are the best
you know,
ones.
exactly. It's really how you run it and what you make of it. So it's not so much the game itself; it's the principles that we want them to apply and learn.
Yeah.
You'll see. So we'll have more people joining us, and we'll get going soon. Hey, Stuart.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Is this your first time?
No, I joined you maybe a year ago or two. I was coaching a lot before COVID, and then I kind of took a break for a year and a half. So
Got it.
back into it now. So I reached out. So thanks for having these.
No, of course, of course. Yeah, no problem. I know it's probably late. Are you on the East Coast or West Coast?
No, I'm in LA. I'm in
LA, okay, you're good.
yeah, Mar
You're
Vista.
good. Mar Vista, all right. Airport.
Just around the corner.
Yes, I used to work on, back in the days when I was in college, I worked on Sepulveda and Palms.
Sepulveda? Yeah, that's right on the corner.
Yeah.
Exactly. Literally.
Used to be a pizza place called Pizza Pazza back in the days. I worked there.
Okay.
All right. Hello, Jessica. So we'll give it a couple more. Well, it's still 8:28, so we'll wait.
I think I saw 20. Is that right?
What's that? Say it again.
attendees. I thought I saw a number around 20 that were signed up. Or maybe on Facebook, they said they were going to join.
Yeah. We have, actually, we do have we do have about 20.
Okay.
But not everybody who signs up shows up because they get the recording as well.
Oh, I get it. Yep.
Yeah. So it's the time is, again, it's hard for me to kind of find the time or the perfect time for everybody. So it's kind of been good. The 8:30 on Sundays, East Coast, West Coast. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it works for me.
But regardless, the recording is available. So
Right. Yep.
we'll just wait a few more minutes and we'll see what happens. Team defense.
I'm a big fan.
You're a big fan, is that what you said?
Yes, of defense. Yeah, it's kind of my passion.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yep. Of course, winning is also pretty important. You got to do it all.
Absolutely.
You got to do it all.
100%. All right.
There we go.
We'll wait a couple more minutes. We'll see what happens. There we go. Kim is joining us. We got 3 more. Jessica, you've taken my clinic before, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's right. I've seen your name many times.
Yeah, I played I was playing at Moore Park when you were coaching a guy at Pierce.
That's right. That's
Mhm.
right. So you played against me.
Yes.
All good. All good. Did you play for Steve or Adam?
My freshman year was Adam's first year, so Burkhart was still there like over the summer, but
Got it.
played for Adam.
I know both Steve and Adam very well. So good people.
Good. Yeah, they are.
All right. Yeah, once we start, then if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you guys to go on mute. And then if we don't have a large group, you can either unmute the question or use the chat, the chat, I guess, whatever you call it, the function. We got Josh. I know it's a late time, but this clinic should not take more than, I would say, 1 hour, maybe 50 minutes. But I'm going to share a lot of good information. I'm going to show you some videos. I'm going to wait 1 more minute. That's it. What's up, Ebony?
How's it going, Nabil?
Are we going to deliver the baby on Zoom?
No, hopefully not. Heavens, could you imagine?
Okay.
Nope, not yet. She's gonna wait her whole time.
Okay,
We
good.
have a Zoom in another 3 weeks. Then
Okay, good. Hello, Kristen. Hello, Josh.
Nabil.
What's going on, my friend? How are you? Good?
Yeah. Doing good.
Brian is joining us. Let me share the screen I want to make sure it's working first. Can you guys see this? I'll make it a little bigger. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
You can all see it? Okay, good. All right. There we go. All right, all right. Okay, so let's begin. All right, so I'm going to ask you guys to go on mute if you don't mind. And then, like I said, if you want to ask a question, so just unmute, or you can ask a question through the chat section. All right. Thank you for joining me. We're going to talk about team defense. Again, I like it to be two-way. You can interrupt me anytime you want. Ask any questions you want. I'm going to show you, like I said, some videos, and I'm going to share some hopefully good information. Okay. But first off, I like to start by saying defense to me is, I call it create. So what does create mean? Every time you dig a ball, you create an opportunity to get a kill. Okay, and if you attended my clinic from 2 or 3, the last one that we did, I think 3 weeks ago. I'll keep admitting people here. Remember, we talked about if we simplified the game of volleyball to somebody who doesn't know the game. Let's say you're in a restaurant and you're talking to somebody who doesn't know anything about the game of volleyball, and they ask you, "Hey, can you explain the game for me?" To me, I always like to go back to hitting and getting kills. And the bottom line in volleyball, it's all about getting more kills than the other team. Okay, that's really, in a simplified manner, that's really how you win the game of volleyball. You just want to get more kills. Yes, serving and passing are very important. Statistically speaking, they are the most important, skills in the game of volleyball. However, all this does, good passing creates more kills. Good serving puts more pressure on the defense, on the opponent, where you're going to get an easier ball over the net, which is going to help you in the end, create more opportunities to get kills. Okay. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask you guys to, again, mute. Maybe somebody is. Okay. So every time you dig a ball, you create an opportunity to get more kills. That's the beauty of defense. Okay. So I like to start by talking about what I call the obnosis, which is the art of observing. Okay. What does that mean? Let's say, for example, you look at, and I used a different example here, but I'm going to use this example. Let's say I ask you guys to take a look at this ball. You're going to tell me, "Oh, okay, yeah, I see it. This is a black, white, and blue ball." But then if I ask you, "No, but I want you to actually take a longer look at the ball and look for the details." So now you're not looking anymore. Now you are observing. So you're probably going to see details. You're going to see the stitches, between the little sections here, between the white and the black and the blue. You might be able to see how far the stitches are, the writings on it. So you're going to be able to see details because you're not looking at it anymore. You're just observing. And that's really, in the end, what you want to teach your players eventually to do. The bottom line is that you don't want them to look at a hitter. Okay. You want them to observe. So in other words, you want them to look at a specific area, on the hitter. It could be a shoulder. It could be an elbow. It could be a wrist, maybe even facial expressions. Like, for example, if this is relaxed over here, more than likely I'm going for an off speed or a tip. But if my facial expressions are tense and they're flexed, I'm more than likely going to hit the ball. So it's going to be a hard-driven ball. So this is how detailed you want the players to be able to look. Obviously, this is going to come or become easier with experience. It's not going to happen right away. If you're coaching younger kids who don't have a lot of experience, guess what? They're not looking at anything but the ball. So this obviously by looking at the ball, they see a lot of information that's going to help them become a better defender. Okay, so we're talking obviously about reading over here, but that's important. So if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna mute. If you're not muted, please mute. Let me see here. Okay, any questions about this? We're good. Let me make sure that it's not there. Just give me 1 sec. Here we go. Sorry, I had to mute one person. All right. Let's go back to sharing. Okay, so before we talk about obviously how we can teach defense and all that, let's talk about the philosophy and the attitude on defense. Okay, attitude. If you don't go, you don't know. I learned this from one of my mentors, Marv Dunphy, who's retired now, but he coached at Pepperdine University, and he used to be the national team coach. As a matter of fact, he's always involved with the national team still today, either as a coach or as a consultant. And he used to say, if you don't go, you don't know. And the bottom line is, if you have a player on the court and you have a ball that's flying off the court, 20, 25, whatever, 30 feet, and you have a player who's kind of looking at it, deciding whether they should go or not. The bottom line is you don't want them to be spending time thinking. You want them to go. Or they might tell you, well, yeah, but the ball is too far away. I don't think I can get the ball. So if you don't go, you don't know. If you don't go after that ball, you don't know whether you can touch it or dig the ball. Okay, so you want to develop this attitude in the players. You got to go. And I know this. Coaches sometimes they do games like, hey, we're going to play over the net, but we don't have any lines on the court. The whole gym is pretty much, it's pretty much the court. So you play every ball in the gym. So there are many ways you can develop this attitude, but basically, you want to, teach them, you want to show them. In the end, you want to keep reinforcing in practice. If you don't go, you don't know. Okay, so at first, the player might be, they might go after a ball and they might still not touch the ball. And then maybe 2 weeks later, if they are putting forth the same effort, they might actually touch the ball. And then eventually, it's going to lead into digging the ball and then maybe digging the ball with control. And that's really how the process works. But the bottom line is that they need to go. If you don't go, you don't know. Every ball is diggable. Okay? It's always a yes. Questions? Or we're good? Number 2, play like you're the only one on the court. And I call this the beach mentality to the indoor game. Now, this is a tough one, okay? Because I know a lot of coaches spend a lot of time sometimes, getting on a box and telling players, hey, you're going to take care of this ball, but then your teammate is going to take care of that ball. Oh, you don't dig that ball, or this is not your ball, this is her ball. And then we spend a lot of time kind of doing this. Oh, no, this is not her ball. And then obviously, eventually the players are going to ask the same questions like, hey, coach, is this my ball or her ball? That's going to go. If you spend your time you're never going to, if you spend your time kind of developing this attitude where, hey, this is not my ball, this is your ball, you're never going to get better at defense. You have to teach your players that, hey, if you can get to the ball, you get to the ball. If that ball is between me and another player, okay, remember what I said. You got to go. I'm not thinking about whether this is mine or not. I'm the only person on the court. I go, she goes, and then we communicate. We talk. That's how it works. But if you teach it the other way, then you're going to end up with players kind of looking at each other and the ball is landing right between the two. It's too late. Okay, so this will take a lot of time, okay, to get the players to do. So, it's constant feedback. You're the only person on the court. Can you get your hands on the ball? What are you waiting for? Put your hands on the ball. Okay, so beach mentality to the indoor game. Any questions about this? Okay, so we don't want to add a thought process to defense. It should be instinctive. Okay, if you're playing middle back, if the ball is going inside the 10-foot line, you at least need to start making a move toward the ball. You're the only person on the court. Okay, same thing with obviously the off blocker or whatever, or the left back or the right back. Okay, elements of playing defense on the beach. Okay, and here I'm going to show you a couple pictures. I think it will make more sense. The first one is where to play. There, if you guys see this, I'll highlight it. Where to play defense according to the block. Okay, so let me show you a couple pictures here. Let's see here. It's, where did I put it? I put it somewhere. No, that's not what I want. Sorry. Okay, can you guys see this? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, so look at the first picture, the top left, for example. Okay, so these are, you can see the two blockers of the net. You have a ball on the other side, obviously with a hitter. So the shaded area is basically the area that's covered by the block. Okay, so as a defender, you want to cover what's not shaded. In this case, you have a left side hitter. You want to play, you obviously want to face, and we'll talk about how we can read the hitter. But for now, you do not want to be in the shaded area. That's the bottom line. Okay, so if I'm playing middle back, I want to be where this arrow is going to the corner. And then if I'm playing left back, I'm going to be on the other side of the shaded area. Self-explanatory. If you look at this one right here, the second one, to the right of the first one, okay? Kind of like, it looks like an inside set, maybe behind the setter. It's the same thing. The blocker is taking away the shaded area. So as a defender, you want to play what's not covered, the white, where the white is. Okay. Look to the one on the bottom left. Somebody's hitting on the right side of the court. What's shaded is what's taken by the blockers. So as the middle back, you want to move in a little bit and then kind of face the hitter. Okay. Same thing on the right side over there, hitting on the left side. It is what's taken. I think it's self-explanatory. This is like a middle attack over here. Somebody hitting out of the middle, maybe a single blocker. So the arrows represent where the right back, the middle back, and the left back should be playing defense. Any questions here? I'll give you another visual here. You can see the top, what it says 49 at the bottom of it, or right below it. So this is you playing defense against a hitter like this. Just pretend you are playing middle back, and that's the view you want to see. You definitely do not want to play, and we're going to talk about this in a sec. You definitely don't want to play behind the block. Okay, you want to play, and this is a key word, by the way. You want to play under and through the hands of the block, not over. Never play over the hands of the blocker. Okay, so this is what you do not want to do. You see here, you're playing behind the block, the second picture. You do not see the hitter. And this is a left back person playing defense against that hitter. I can see the hitter, I can see the ball. So I'm playing under and around the blocker's hands here. So I have a good chance of digging the ball. Same thing with this one over here. Hitting on the right side, I can see the block, I can see the hitter, I can see the ball. Therefore, I can play defense. Any questions? Self-explanatory, right? We're good? Okay. So that's the first point, where to play defense according to the block. Okay. So the first thing that we need to learn is if you are teaching the defenders how to play defense and you're standing right behind, let's say you're playing a game. If you want to see what they're seeing, you want to obviously stand kind of shadow what they're doing. So you want to play off the court. So let's say somebody's playing left back. I'm going to be off to the sideline right behind them, and I'm going to shadow what they're doing. And at one point, I'm going to ask them, "What did you see?" And that's one question that you're going to keep repeating all year. You want to ask the player, "What did you see?" And a lot of times they're going to tell you, "I don't know." They might be looking at the ball too much. You obviously want to look at the ball, but you want to keep it short to the point where you look at the ball, and then now I need to be able to read and play defense. So I need to find the hitter. If I can find the hitter, I'm going to find the ball because that's what the hitter is going to be. Okay. So if you have players kind of looking up, playing above, I'm going to give you another keyword here. If they are playing above the net, okay, they're not going to see much. It means they are looking at the ball. You do not play above the net. You play through the net. So you can actually put a cap on them if you want. And you can look at this over here. If this is going up too much and staying long too much, this means they are looking at the ball. So you definitely do not want to be doing this too much. You want to play through the net. Okay? So this goes back to point number 2. See ball, see hitter. What does that mean? If I'm looking, if I want to find the hitter so I can read, then all I need to do is find the ball. And vice versa, by the way. Okay, because again, the hitter is going to be where the ball is. Okay, the setter is going to be where the ball is. Remember, you're not always reading a hitter as well. You're reading a setter. So, and that's key. If I can find the ball, okay, under and around the blocker's arms, I'm going to be able to see the hitter. But if I cannot find the ball, what does that mean? I am playing behind the block. Okay? So see ball, see hitter. That's what I call it. Always ask yourself, what did you see? As I said earlier, am I behind the block? See what's happening and not what you thought might be happening. So players are going to tell you, what, coach, I thought the ball was going angle. And that's the problem. You don't play according to what you think is happening. You play according to what you see is happening. Big difference. Okay. Point number 4 right here. I'll highlight it. And I'm using a couple acronyms over here. Well, let's do this. You need to be able to see the ball and the hitter on defense and be SBF. What is SBF? SBF basically is stopped, balance, and forward. I used to say stopped and balance. And then one day a player, she stood up and she kind of had her feet together. And then she's like, Nabil, well, I'm stopped and I'm balanced. And it kind of made sense to me. I'm like, well, we need to be stopped. We need to be balanced and we need to be slightly forward. So you want to have your knees. If you're playing defense, I want to have my knees slightly over my toes. You do not want to be too much over your toes because like basically if you're playing defense on your toes, like your heels are way off the ground, you're off balance. So you want to be slightly forward. Your momentum is slightly forward. Okay. So that's called SBF. And this is important. And you'll see why in a sec. SBF is key. Okay. When somebody is touching the ball, and I'm not just talking about a hitter, it could be a setter, it could be a passer. Every time a player on the other side of the net is touching the ball, you want to be SBF. Okay, that's key. And then once the ball is in the air, you make your movements. You get to your position and so forth. As soon as somebody touches the ball, you want to be SBF. That is the best way to play defense. The best way to give yourself a chance at every ball. Okay, and I'll give you a very simple example. The setter is touching the ball and you have your left back backpedaling for some reason because they're just backpedaling. There's no, they're going to tell you, well, I don't know why I'm doing it. It just, and then the setter sets the ball to the center, to the center of the court. And now your left back has no chance of digging the ball because she's backpedaling. She's moving. You want to be SBF. when somebody is touching the ball. And here I use the word before the hitter is in his or her throwing position. I call it TP. This is my throwing position. As soon as you see the hitter in this position here, I want to be SBF. Even you as a defender, you are out of position. For example, like I just showed you in the in the picture. If you're trying to get to the left side of the block so you can see the hitter, the entire body of the hitter, but you're late for some reason, you couldn't get there. Guess what? It's better to be out of position and SBF than trying to get into your position late, because you're going to be moving and you're not going to have a chance. Okay? Remember, volleyball is a very random game. In other words, somebody can hit the ball and the ball is going off your hands and you don't know which direction the ball is going to fly. It can go left, right, behind you. So being SBF will give you the best opportunity. Okay. Let me go over the next 2 points, which I talked about already. You want to play defense through the net and not above the net. I mentioned that already. And then play defense around and under the hands of the block and not over the hands of the block. Let me stop here and maybe answer some questions if you have any. Well, I'm doing a good job explaining here. Well, all good? Okay, so let me show you then a video. It's a game. As a matter of fact, I do it almost, thank you. I do this game almost every day. I do it as a warm-up. And then once we are getting close to the season and all that, I probably won't do it every single day. But once in a while, it's good, it's fun, it's low impact. And guess what? Any level, whether you're coaching at top level, 18 or 16, and a low level 14, anybody can do it. Anybody, okay? It's a simple game, to be honest with you. And it's not so much about the game itself. It's really the principles and the concepts that you're trying to teach, which is everything that we just talked about. Okay, so the game is basically 3-on-3. You can put the ball in play whichever way you want. I usually toss the ball over the net. That's not the most important thing here. And then I tell the players, you can do whatever you want as long as you don't jump. Okay, but it's gotta be two hands. So either a pass or a set, and you can send it over on one. You can send it over on two, or you can go pass, set, set, pass, set, pass, whatever you want. Okay, but the key is we want the defenders to get to their home base. Okay, be SBF when somebody is touching the ball, and read. In this case, you're reading a passer or a setter who's setting the ball over the net. Very simple. No jumping. You cannot. If you jump, you lose the point. And I typically give the point to the winning team, or random. It doesn't matter. Okay, and then you can play game to 11, or game to 15, whatever you want. So let me show you this. And I posted it on the Lava Facebook page if you saw it. But where is it? What is it? It's gotta be here. Okay. We don't want this. That's not what I want. Give me 1 second if you don't mind. I think, oh, no, it's right here. Can you guys see this? I'm going to make it bigger. Oops. Sorry. Can we see this now? So let me rewind this a little bit. So basically, if you notice, it's 3-on-3, no jumping. So here she decided to send it over on 2. She decided to send it over on 1. And they will get better at it. You notice if obviously we're trying to emphasize here, you want to be SBF. When somebody's touching the ball, you want to be SBF. So watch on the other side now. Somebody's touching the ball. You are not moving. Excellent. And she sends it over here. I think the ball is out, but Let's keep watching. And the players will get better at sending the ball to the corners. Play the ball where the court is open. You got to hustle back. Somebody's touching. She wants to be. Yeah, here we go. And just so you know, when we first started doing this, and these are college girls, we're all over the place. They're dancing, they're moving, they're trying to guess where the ball is going, as opposed to being SBF, read, react. And that's what you want to emphasize, okay? And we'll talk about what home base is in a sec. So watch the other side. You look how it's there, stop, balance. And that ball should have been up, obviously. She got there, but she just didn't make. She didn't play the ball out. She's setting the ball over on 2. Just no jumping. Good up. Just the fact that they are being SBF, they're touching a lot more balls and digging. They're getting better at digging. Couple more here. Anybody can do this. Anybody can benefit from this. She sets it over on 2. The other player is there, she just doesn't have the skills to pick up the ball yet. Thirty more seconds. And you have players coming, if you have, let's say you have 12 players, you can go 3-on-3, and you can go 4-on-4 if you want. You can put another person at the net. Again, you can adjust to the skill level that you have on the team. And if you want to play 3-on-3, then you can have 3, obviously, if you win, you stay. If you lose, you exchange with the team that's off the court. See here, this is a good example. This is a good example of the right back and then the middle back kind of looking at each other, as opposed to what? You're the only person on the court. You gotta go. Okay. But again, it takes time to be good at it. So let me stop here. Any questions about this? Anyone can do it, any level, 12 and under. Okay, very simple. And I typically, we tell the players, look, if you want to set the ball over, especially if you want to go deep, you want to face where you want to set. Otherwise, they're going to call the double. So the skills will get better like that too. And then you can do things like, we're going to play game to 15. If you send the ball over on 2 and you score, then you give them a bonus point, for example. If you send the ball over on 1 and you score 3 points. So you can do things like that. Questions? We're good? It's on the Facebook page. You can always go back and look at it. If you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, it's very simple. But again, it's not about the game itself, because you can see, I'm sure you've done things like this before. It's what you're saying, what you're emphasizing, being SBF. Somebody is touching the ball, you want to be SBF. That's what's important to me. Facts. Okay, we're here. Let me share with you 2 facts here. In women's volleyball, approximately 50% of the serve balls include a transition to attack. What does that mean? It means 50% of the time you're digging to transition to hopefully score a kill. 50%, that's a lot. So if you have a good defensive team, if you dug 50 balls and then the other team dug 30 balls, guess what? You have 20 more opportunities than the other team to get kills. 20 more opportunities. That's a lot. Okay, it could be the difference again. Okay, again, 50 versus 30. So scrappy is good. Picking up, obviously, eventually you want the quality of the dig, and we'll talk about it later. To be good, you want the quality of the dig to be good, to be able to, to make it easier to get kills. Number two, when digging, approximately 70% of contacts do not require going to the floor. Okay. Again, my team does it where they, you see them going after the ball and they just kind of dive or do whatever instead of, I want to arrive. My goal is to arrive to the point of contact before the ball, if I can. And if I feel I'm going to lose my balance by doing that, by stopping my feet, then I can maybe run through the ball. Okay, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have worked on run-throughs and all that. It's not something that I work on specifically like this, and we can talk about it later. I like to teach it where, hey, you know what? Again, if by stopping your feet, you feel like you're losing your balance, then try to stay on your feet as long as you can. And once you feel that, even if you stayed on your feet, you're not gonna be able to get your platform under the ball. That's when you hit the floor by doing a sprawl, a dive, whatever it is that you do. Okay. But the bottom line is you want to teach the players to stay on their feet as long as they can. Okay. And let's move on to the 3 R's. Here, as I said before, okay. Move when the ball is in the air, SBF when one is touching the ball. Any player and not just the hitter. Remember, we talked about it. Even as a passer, even when you serve the ball and the passer is touching the ball, you want your blockers and your defenders to be stopped, balanced for the blockers, and then defenders stopped, balanced, and forward. Okay, you definitely want. And then same thing, the ball is in the air, you can make your movements. You can adjust, do whatever you want to do. Once the setter is touching the ball, you want to be stopped, balanced, and forward. And then the ball is in the air until the hitter is here, and then you want to be SBF again. Again, it's key that you teach it in this way, this progression, just like that. And you got to keep spooning it to every single day. You got to mention it every single day. Okay. Hammer it into their heads. So reading, these are the 3 R's. Reading, what's reading? Obviously, we're talking about eyes over here. Defense is a sequence of reads and adjustments made before the ball is attacked. Okay. So staying low, obviously, is, we always tell the defenders, stay low. But again, it's not to the point where you want them to stay low, where they actually touch the floor with one hand. I see a lot of defenders do that because now you're losing your balance. You don't need to be that low. You just need to be slightly forward. Okay. And you definitely don't want to be playing defense standing up, obviously. Ready. What is ready? That's SBF. That's exactly what SBF is. If you're not SBF, you're not ready. You cannot be ready. Okay, so that's key. That's key. You want to be stopped, balanced, and forward when somebody's touching the ball. As I said here, this requires discipline. It just takes a long time to master, to perfect. Okay, and then finally, react. That's where the skills come in place. How good you are as a digger, step and cut, half roll, diving, sprawl, and you obviously can work on this stuff, whichever it is that you want to work with them on. Okay. But these are the 3 R's. Questions? No questions? Good. Okay. And then before I talk about the fundamentals, let me talk about the 2 E's. I call them emergency and execution. Let me actually stop so you guys can focus on instead of looking at the paper. So what is emergency? Emergency is you're playing defense, you go up to block, the ball is going off the hands, it's flying maybe 25 feet behind the end line, somebody with a heavy arm, obviously. And now you want your millback to turn and run. But obviously, in this case, you'll be happy as a coach if they can just pick up the ball and keep it alive. It's an emergency type move. You're not looking, it's probably going to be very difficult to be able to counterattack in this case. So we call these emergency type moves. Somebody goes up and they hit the ball down the line. The blockers don't touch it. And you just hope that your right back player is right there and ready to play the ball up. So you're just happy if they just keep the ball in play. Okay, we call these emergency type digs. And then you have, I go up and I block, and the ball is going 20 feet up in the air now, off the blocker's hands. And now we're thinking, no more emergency. This is called an execution type dig. This is what you want, and I call it, by the way, a simple play, like free balls, down balls, touches off the block in this manner. I call them simple plays. What's a simple play? It's an execution type dig. This is where you're thinking, I'm gonna make you pay. Again, it's a concept, it's an attitude, but you wanna be able to execute. I mean, it's got to be a perfect pass, perfect dig, set, hit. So you got to be able to differentiate emergency versus execution type digs. Questions? It's right there. Get the ball up versus get the ball up to the target. Make it perfect. Okay? And as you teach your skills, okay, defenders are going to see the following. Like if I'm playing defense, I'm in a nice low position. Okay, the ball is going to be either what? Over my shoulders. So if the ball is going over my shoulder, I need to be able to play defense here. So you definitely want to be better with this. Okay, and then typically what I tell the players, if you're setting the ball, this is typically how you want your elbows to be out a little bit. But the faster the ball, the more your elbows are in, to the point where you're basically doing what we call an old school tomahawk. Got it? If you're trying to play a fast ball here, that ball is going right through your hands. The faster the ball, the more your fingers are involved. The slower the ball, the more your thumbs are involved, which is setting. Okay? So again, this is why when I'm playing defense, if I am playing left back, you see this here? I want to be able to, if I'm playing, let's say, slightly behind the 10-foot line, okay, I cannot have my arms down here, okay, because I need to have them here, and I like to have the thumbs up, by the way, and I like this to be firm, okay, not here. This to me is uncomfortable, or like this, just here, because I need to be able to do this or do this. So if you watch my left back and my right back, they're always here in this position. If you're playing middle back, you can have your arms down, and you can actually be higher a little bit because you have more time to react. Okay, so this is my position, my SBF position for the left back, right back, for the pins, and then the middle back. Okay, so going back to this, they're gonna see the balls over the shoulders. They need to have the skills to play that ball. They're gonna see balls coming to the waist. Okay, I need to be able to play that ball. They're gonna see balls going between the waist and the knees. You gotta have the skills to be able to get the platform under the ball. Okay, the key word is under, and it will make more sense when we talk about the fundamentals. And then finally, I see balls that are between the knees and the floor, and you got to be able to have the skills to play that ball up to. Okay, I'll go into more details, but these are the 4 areas here: waist, between the waist and the knees, between the knees and the toes. Okay, that's it. Okay. All right. Fundamentals. Any questions before I begin? We're good? Following the progression? All right. Okay. But before we do that, I wanted to show you guys a video Here we go. And again, I wanted to show it after I talked about the emergency versus, versus execution. So let me play this.
And the worst wait times you need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed.
This is a good website, by the way. Find a lot of good stuff there. I'm just going to play it a little bit. I'm not going to play the entire video, obviously. Oh, sorry. You know what? This is not the one I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to show women's volleyball. Sorry. How do I make this smaller here? That's the one. Can you guys see this?
We're in their corner and on it because their local agent is a small business owner too.
Let me know if you cannot.
So I've got my essay written, and I've been working on it for about a week. So now I'm going to show you how I use Grammarly to edit.
Oh, here we go. So that's again, this is an emergency type dig here. We want the ball to be up. A lot of pancakes, but it doesn't matter. The ball is up. Emergency. It's a great dig. So we notice the left back and right back, the SBF. It's a great dig. You're the only person on the court. That's great right there. Instead of waiting for the no-back to dig the ball. This is the left back playing defense here. Twenty more seconds. Okay. Make this smaller. All right. Let me go back to this. Okay. Fundamentals. 5 keywords that I like to use when I'm teaching defense. Okay. Stiff hands or wrist. I don't like this over here, as I said. I don't like it to be this way. I don't like it to be this way. I just want it to be here, and I want this to be firm. I don't want it stiff like this, and I don't want it relaxed. I just want it to be firm. So they're able to do this or this, overhand or underhand. Okay, that's a keyword in my book. Stopped, bounce, and forward. Set it gazillion time today. SBF. Under and through the ball. Okay, so what is under and through the ball? Pretend you have two eyes over here. Okay, and this is good actually to use with the younger players or even the older players because it's a good visual. Tell them you put two eyes over here on the platform. If I'm passing the ball, my eyes are looking behind the ball. They're looking behind the ball. Okay, but if I'm dinging the ball, I want my eyes to look under the ball. Under the ball. This is behind here. Sorry, this is behind. This is under. Okay, so when I'm passing, I want my eyes to be looking behind the ball. When I'm digging, I want it to be under the ball. And that's the only difference between passing and digging. So when I'm passing the ball, you're going to see the ball kind of like this. It's flat with no rotation on it. And when I'm digging, you're going to see this. What is this here? Backspin. So under and then through the ball, which is basically the J stroke, we'll make sure that the ball is going up. Now, why backspin? Why do you want this here? Obviously, when you're hitting, you want this, top spin. And when you're digging, you want the opposite. Why? Physics. If the ball is backspinning, means it's going to stay in the air longer. What does this mean? You transition, you're going to have more time to transition and a better opportunity to get a kill because your hitters are going to have more time to, get ready and be available. Same thing with the setter. So how do you determine whether a dig is quality? The more backspin on the ball, the better. If you don't see a backspin on the ball, this means they're not getting under and through the ball. So the whole point of digging a ball is to get the platform under the ball. So if I'm playing defense and the ball is going between my knees and my toes, I need to be able to find a way to get my platform under the ball. The whole point of diving is to get your platform under the ball. Okay, so you have to think about it this way and not so much, hey, you got to hit the floor. No, you have to dig the ball first. And because you're losing your balance, you hit the floor. Okay, so to me, it's two segments. And this is something that we've been actually working on in the gym. You don't hit the floor and dig at the same time. I want you to actually see yourself dig the ball and then hit the floor if you lose your balance. Okay, but the bottom line is you want to get your platform under the ball. So if you have to break your elbows in a case, for example, when the ball is below your knees, then you're going to have to do that. So sometimes you may end up playing defense like this if you're playing below your knees. Okay, am I making sense here? Hopefully I'm giving you a good visual. But under and through the ball is a key word. Okay. Backspin. The more backspin, the more quality the dig is. Move your feet. We'll talk about what tempo 2 and 3 balls are. Or simply shoot your platform under the ball. I see a question. Give me a sec. Or simply shoot your platform under the ball and angle. So what does that mean? Means if the ball is like a down ball is a tempo, I would say tempo 2 ball. You have plenty of time to actually step and dig. Okay. But if it's a fast ball, like a tempo 1 ball, then you don't have time to move your feet maybe. So you're going to have to rely on your platform, on your shooting your platform, under and through the ball or angle the ball. Like if I'm playing left back, I don't have time to take a step. I'm going to have to shoot my platform and dig the ball. Okay. So you have to work on both. Okay. So questions here. We can't see you, Nabil. Oh, fixed it. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Ebony. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay. So tempo 3, what's a tempo 3? Like a free ball. Remember what I said, free ball, down ball. To me, in my gym, I call them simple plays. Simple plays. Execution type dig. Okay. Remember, a free ball is not a pass on the statistic sheet. It's a dig. Okay. The only pass on the statistic sheet is the one off the serve. Okay. So again, you have to differentiate. Okay. Somebody hitting a down ball, it's not a pass anymore. It's a dig. You're digging the ball. Okay. So And finally, step and cut, which again, what I talked about. Step and cut means you step with your foot, with your leg, and then you cut the ball off and you dig. This is if you have time to move your feet. If you don't have time, you sprawl, judo roll, half roll, whatever it is that you want to teach them. These are all keywords. Any questions? No? If you obviously want to teach overhand passing, I don't know why anybody would be against overhand digging. There's no call for ugly. The whole point is to keep the ball alive and keep it up, and they're going to have to get better at it. Okay. So I'm all for it, actually. I like it. The same thing. It's kind of like you're playing on the beach. So again, as I said before, if you're digging a fastball, the faster the ball, the more you bring your elbows in. Okay. So, and I said that keep elbows in for a medium or fastball, and then set elbows out for like a tempo 2 or 3 ball, like an easy down ball or a free ball. Okay. I think you understand what I'm talking about here. Take the ball above your forehead. So if I'm digging, if I'm here playing defense like this, and I'm digging above my forehead, I mean, I'm digging the ball over my head, I need to be able to take the ball here and then get my head under the ball so I can shoot my hips forward. So you cannot be digging overhand here. That's not going to happen. You need to get your forehead under the ball. Okay. Remember, we're talking about overhand digging over here. How you teach it. Extend the elbows. So once you dig, I want to extend all the way up to the ceiling, and then attack the ball up. There is no call for ugly. Questions about this? We're good? Okay. Team defense. So now we go back to what I showed you on the video. We're playing 3-on-3. Let's not talk about the blockers for a sec. If I don't say anything, I want my home base, so my left back and my right back, to play what I call it 5-by-5. So 5 feet in from the sideline, and then 5 feet behind the 10-foot line. So that's typically our starting position. You want your defender to start there. And then after that, we'll get better at reading. And we're going to play what we call situational volleyball based on what the other team is doing. Okay, I will answer this later on as we progress into the conversation here and talk a little more advanced volleyball. But for now, if I don't say anything to the players, we're all going 5-by-5. And then your middle back can either be middle, or they can be to the left a little bit, or maybe to the right. And remember, this is all based on what the other team is doing or statistics. Okay. But for now, 5-by-5. And then your middle back is, you don't want him to be too deep. Definitely you don't want him to be too deep. I like him to be maybe 7 feet, maybe 8 feet from the end line. Okay. I want to protect this area of the court. So that's establishing your body posture. And again, how do you establish your body posture? We talked about it already. If I'm playing left back, I want to have my elbows here like this, my thumbs up, and I want to have my knees slightly over my toes, and I want to have my shoulders slightly over my knees. Okay, so in this position here, you do not want to be back, because now you're on your heels, which means what? You're off balance. Okay, all right. I don't know what happened here. Okay. Perceive the pass. So as I'm playing defense, okay, I have all my back row players, and we serve the ball. And now remember, we talk about the eyes. So what do you want to tell the players to look at? You want your blockers and your defenders to be looking at the person who's about to play the ball, which is the passer on the other side. So your eyes should be right here. Eyes should be on the platform, because that's going to give you information. And you're asking yourself one question. Is the ball over coming to my side, or is the ball on their side of the net? Whether it's a perfect ball or not, it doesn't matter. Either it's coming over the net or they have it. That's the question you want to ask. If the ball is coming over the net, then we're going to have to decide. Are we going to dig and then pass that hit? I mean, Dick said hit. Are we gonna hit the overpass? Am my front row player is gonna actually step back and then take the ball? And that's you're gonna have to drill them in practice to get better at making decisions like these. Okay. But again, the question is, as soon as we serve and you perceive the ball off the passer, is it coming over or not? If it's not coming over the net, you want your eyes where now? Now, who's the person who's going to play the next ball? The setter. So now you keep your eyes on the ball a little longer. You take your eyes off the ball. You're looking through the net and you're looking for the setter. And you're watching this here. Remember, obnosis. You want to observe. You cannot just look. You have to observe. That's what's going to give you information. Okay. There's one question here. Let me open it. Okay. Okay. So that's key. So now I'm looking at the setter. And if I'm looking at the setter because I want to perceive the set. Okay. So as you perceive the set, there are three that you want your players to get better at. It's speed, okay, distance or not distance, it should be direction. Speed, direction, and depth. Okay? So, in my opinion, it should be what's the easiest thing to be able to see? The easiest thing to see is the direction of the ball. So this should be actually reversed. I'm going to fix it. It should be direction first. You got to be able to tell whether this ball is going this way or going back. That's the first thing that you need to be able to see as a defender. Direction. Second is speed. Okay. You'll get better at determining whether this is a fast ball or a slow ball. And then finally, depth. Is the ball inside? Is it outside? Is it off the net? Is it on the net? That takes a lot more time to master the first. So direction, speed, depth. Okay. And that's what you defenders need to get better at. Okay. So that's perceiving the set. And then finally, like I said at the beginning, remember, as a defender, I'm going to find the ball. See ball, see hitter, or see hitter, see ball. It's the same thing. Okay. And I'm going to perceive the hitter. So once I can see the hitter, I need to look at a specific area. Okay. So for example, if I'm doing this, okay, and this is, by the way, a universal law. You can see that at the highest level, every single player has what we call a tell sign. In hitting, most players, before they tip, they go from here, which is my TP, to this. They extend the arm. What does that mean? It means they're going to tip the ball over the net. It's universal. But you as a defender, if you're watching the ball, you're never going to see this. You're never going to see this. And if I want to go off speed, they go from this position to this. They drop the elbow. Now I'm going to go off speed. If you can see this information before the hitter makes contact with the ball, you have become a better defender like this instantly. And then lastly, if somebody is here and then you can see the facial expressions that they're going to want to hit the ball, that's more information. All this takes time to get better at and process. Okay. But the more you do this as a player, the faster, okay, or the better you'll get at it. So perceive the pass, perceive the set, perceive the hitter. All right. No movement on contact. We talked about it already. Somebody's touching the ball, you want to be SPF. Okay. And then the one thing that I make my players do all the time, and you probably noticed this in maybe the game that I showed you guys, is they need to call what they see. So if you want your players to actually look at the right thing, I make them call what they see. Free ball, obviously the 12 and under, they get better at calling the free ball, down ball. Like whatever they see, I want them to call in, out, short, deep, angle, line. Whatever they see, I want them to call. And if they're not calling it, it means to me that they're not looking at the right thing. They're looking at the ball too long, like the parents do in a game. The parents spend a lot of time doing this, looking up, as opposed to what? Looking at the person who's about to play the ball. And that's what you want your volleyball players to do. And not just volleyball, any sport. Okay. Questions? And then establish your floor position. Obviously, I talked about being SBF and all that, but if I want to move from point A to point B, you definitely do not want to be doing this. You do not want to bob. You definitely want to stay low and quiet like this. So the bobbing means it's going to take me more time to get from point A to point B. So when I'm making my movements, I do not want to bob. I want to stay low and quiet. Okay? That's as far as movements. Okay? And then here you can I'm not going to go through all the points, but it talks about, again, the same stuff. What the hitter, if the hitter is here, you want to be stop, balance, and forward. When I'm playing defense, like if I'm playing right back and when I play down the line, okay, I take a step back. Okay, so if this is my foot right here, okay, I want to step back this way. When you step back, make sure you don't rotate your hips. Let's say this is the line over here. I definitely do not want to do this. So when I'm stepping back, I want to stay square to the net. Okay? So the key in volleyball is that if you have to travel more than 3 feet, you cross over. If you have to travel less than 3 feet, you shuffle. Makes sense? This is as a guideline. Okay, so if I have to go from the 10-foot line down the line to play defense, and if it's more than 3 feet, I'm going to cross over. If it's less than 3 feet, I'm going to shuffle. But no matter what, you're always going to stay low and quiet, no bobbing. Questions? Okay, from there, we're talking about, getting better with the skills. How good are they with the platform, shooting and getting under the ball, under and through the ball. But there's one thing that I like to teach is, especially on like an execution type dig, like a free ball, a down ball, touch off the block, that's up in the air, is if you look over here, let me just highlight it so you guys can see it. You can see it in pink. So the way I like to teach it is you get 3 orders. If I toss the ball nice and high and I tell you, hey, I want you to run through the screen and arrive, get your feet to the ball, have a cup of coffee, and then pass the ball. I call this arriving. Okay, which by the way, in my gym, I have a concept called the 2 A's. One of them is arriving, and then the other one is available. These are the 2 big A's in my gym. Okay, so going back to arriving, I want the player to think on defense, you want to arrive. You want to beat the ball to the point of contact. You don't time it where you can run through the ball. And this is why I don't like, to do run-throughs where I'm on a box and I'm tossing the ball from corner to corner. And I'm asking the players, hey, I want you to keep your feet on the ball, keep your feet on the floor and then run through the ball. I don't like to teach that because to me, that's a consequence, which is order 2. Order 1 is arrive. I want them to beat the ball to the point of contact. Now, as they're doing this, if by stopping their feet, they feel that they are losing their balance, then I want them to stay on their feet and then they can resort to a J stroke or a run through. Okay. And then finally, order 3 is by staying on your feet, you feel like you're losing your balance. Then you need to hit the floor, sprawl, whatever it is that you're teaching, diving. But remember, the whole point is to get your platform under and through the ball. But you cannot skip orders. You cannot go from order 1 to 3. Make sense? So that's the key. You cannot go to 1 and 2 and then skip 3. Like I cannot go 1, 2, and then let the ball drop in front of me, 5 feet in front of me, for example. You're skipping orders. Okay. So that's the key, is you want to make sure that they go in order 1, 2, and 3, and they cannot skip orders. And a lot of players usually skip order 2. They go from 1 to 3. They just kind of dive or they hit the floor. So we don't want that. Yeah. And finally, we pass the ball 12 feet high, 3 feet off. You can go 2 feet off if you want. You can go maybe 1 foot off if you have a lefty setter who is an attacker. But if you don't, I like the ball to be 3 feet off the net typically. And then we dig the ball 20 and 8, 20 feet high, 8 feet off. That's what 20. These are all keywords that you can use in your gym that will make a lot more sense for the players, and they can learn, and not only learn, they can retain the information. Questions? No questions?
I got a question, Bill.
Yep.
It's kind of going back to the very beginning with telling girls like, hey, that's not your ball. If you got a girl who's like running across half the court to take a ball from another player and like sending it over, what words would you use to tell her to not get that ball? Or would you be more on the player she's taking it from to be louder and more aggressive?
But that's the point. I wouldn't tell her not to take it. I mean, the whole point is to teach him, if you can get to the ball, get to the ball. I would talk to the other player, the one who's not going after the ball.
Well,
So
she's like right under the ball, like ready to pass it. And then this girl's coming in and sending it over.
Well, then that's a communication thing. So somebody's not communicating. So if they're both going after it, that's good, but now they got to communicate.
Yeah.
Makes sense? So that's a communication problem. It's not they just got to talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
And listen.
Exactly.
Okay.
What else? It takes time. It takes time. It's obviously, I mean, if you have players who are playing beach volleyball, there's no secret that they are the best players in the gym, or at least the best defenders, since we're talking about defense today. No, there's no secret. And obviously now you know why. So I only have one defense. People ask me, what do? You do perimeter? You do rotation? I don't do any of that stuff. We just read. We just, like, again, it's like the beach game brought indoors when it comes to defense, at least. That's the attitude I want to have. What else?
You're mentioning reading the hitter and the elbow dropping for tips. Do you have any other feedback on
elbow dropping, step? I mean, off speed, elbow, arm extended is tipping. If you see the facial expression, like if I'm hitting, it's a natural thing. Like I cannot be hitting and then do this. Like this cannot be relaxed when you're hitting the ball. So if you can teach your players to look at the facial expressions, it's going to give them a lot of information. Or at the same time, if this is all the way back and then this is coming forward fast, they're hitting the ball.
Yeah.
So another thing is hips. As Beyonce say in the song, hips don't lie. Or I don't know, maybe it's J-Lo. I don't know. One of them. But yes, as a defender, facing the hips is a good start, at least, because most hitters hit where they're facing.
Right.
Okay. And then the most difficult one is watching the wrist. Like, obviously, if I want to go down the line, let's say I'm facing this way, right? If I want to go down the line, do you think I'm going to hit it this way?
Yep.
No, I'm going to turn. I'm going to turn to face this way. So if I want to go angle, like I said, we talked about it last time. We went wrist away, cut back, all that. But if I'm doing this, I'm going sharp angle on the other side. So the wrist is another thing. But that's sometimes hard to see because it's quick.
Right.
It just takes time. It takes time. Like if you're playing beach, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. One thing I do is the approach. If they start to slow down, then you can expect an off speed, or at least not to be overpowered by a hard hit.
Exactly. And then eventually you teach your blockers when to block and not to block. That's it. To me, it's a lost art. And then what's the question you want to ask yourself is, hey, if the hitter is not a threat, you don't block. However, I tell the players, look, once you make a decision, you're going to block, then you need to block. And you cannot just relax in the air because you're like, oh man, I made a bad decision. Once you decide to block, I want them to go after it.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You can do so many different games to get better at defense. But again, it's not really about the game. It's more providing the touches. Like deep court is great. I mean, deep court to me it's a ball control game, but it's a digging game in the end. You end up digging a lot of balls.
Are you familiar with the shadow drill? Where you just have a ball going, a set of no hitter, you just have the ball going to the pins?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of shadow stuff. I mean, I want things to be live.
Yeah, okay.
Like if I want him to get better at defense, I want everything to be the game, the way the game is played. That's why I don't like. I mean, you can go on a box as a first maybe phase, cognitive phase, where you teach them how to dig, and then maybe slow it down a little bit for them. And after that, you cannot just go on a box and stop. You need to go live. Because you'll see that it's going to be a different game. I mean, it's taking an approach, jumping in the air and hitting the ball. That's a big element of the game. When you are on a box, you take that away.
Yeah, they can't read.
Yes. But I'm okay with it as an initial cognitive phase, like you're teaching the players where to go and how to read. I'm okay with that, as long as you progress into the next step. Questions? We're good? Yeah? Well, if you have no more questions, hopefully you liked it. I'll send you guys, obviously, I'm going to upload the video on YouTube. Then I'll send you guys the handout. But if you have no more questions, good luck with everything. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. We'll have another one. If you have any topic, any idea or anything that you want me to cover or talk about, please send me send me an email or text me or whatever.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Other than that, enjoy your night.
Thank you, Nabil.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Nabil.
Of course. Take care of yourself.